Well, today we begin a week-long series comparing the vice presidential candidates, where we'll be talking about Governor Sarah Palin and Senator Joe Biden's experience and their positions on a number of the hot issues affecting the campaign. Issues like foreign policy, the war in Iraq, oil, and the economy. And today we'll begin this series with a look at the influential role that the two are playing in the 2008 presidential election. In this already historic race, the VPs have been in the spotlight, not touting only their strengths, but also facing the scrutiny, as we just talked about a short time ago, over some of their weak spots as well. Some say that the VPs can make all the difference this year in this election, for the good or for the bad, or whatever the case may be. And so we want to talk about that as we move now to my guest, and that is a person you know. Joining me to talk on this highlighted vice presidential role is Julian Zelizer, history professor at Princeton University's Woodrow Wilson School. Julian, it's always good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
You know, when was the last time that the VP candidates mattered this much in an election? My goodness.
Oh, it's hard to remember them playing this big of a role. I mean, there are VP picks that matter. Dan Quayle became something of an embarrassment for George Bush I. He had to get over him. Al Gore was very important for Bill Clinton, just in bringing a regional flavor to the ticket, but nothing like this. I mean, this is actually turning into an unprecedented race in many ways because of the VP.
Well, and we've talked about some of the history of other VPs where they have seemed to make a difference, and some others who did not. I mean, if you look at, go all the way back to, say, a Lyndon Johnson, wouldn't you say that Johnson was important in the Kennedy campaign to shore up some of his weaknesses?
Yeah, Johnson was important both in bringing the South to John Kennedy and also bringing him some experience on the ticket for those who were nervous that this was someone who really had not been in office very long. And it also countered some of the anti-Catholic biases that still existed in 1960. So Johnson was quite important.
And then when we talked about, say, for example, John Edwards on the Kerry ticket, it was thought that a youthful, vibrant John Kerry would help bring about the South, but that didn't quite pan out.
No, I mean, bad vice presidential picks can be a problem. They can drag a ticket. John Edwards did not have almost any effect on John Kerry other than negative. I mean, when he faced off against Dick Cheney in the vice presidential election, many thought that was really a decisive blow to Kerry's campaign. It really undermined a lot of the excitement that started to build temporarily right before that. And
we'll be talking about this all week, but just in terms of Biden and Palin, when they go head-to-head in their debates, what's going to be important to watch during those conversations?
Demeanor is the most important. How things look is as important as how they sound. So one thing we're looking from Biden is he too tough? Is he too aggressive? Does he become, you know, what Rick Lazio was when he ran against Hillary Clinton in New York? You know, almost someone you don't want to support because of the way he's treating her.
Is he in a no-win situation in that way then? If he's too tough and clobbers her, it's like, oh, you should have taken it easy on her. Or if he holds back and she clobbers him, it's like, my goodness, Biden, you couldn't even beat Palin.
Well, I think he has to focus on George Bush and John McCain and not the person he's debating. He makes very effective speeches he's been making against the Bush administration, and I think in the debate that's what he has to do. He's in a no-win situation with her. I think you're absolutely right.
All right. Well, Julian Zelizer, we'll be watching this all week. We'll be watching the VPs. So much to talk about, so little time, but we always appreciate it when you come on board and shed some light on these matters, and we know that you follow it extensively. Thanks, Julian.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate that. And again, want to remind you that all this week we're going to be comparing the vice presidential candidates on the hot issues that affect you. So keep it right here at Fennell Reports.
On air, online, on demand. Watch AFR when you want, where you want with CN8, the Comcast network.